Good morning, everybody. I hope the screen is visible today. Okay. Yeah. Uh, so, the previous class we completed a quick revision on chapter 1, and today we are gonna start with chapter 2. Okay. So we'll just see if possible. I'll just run through chapter 3 also, and we'll see how fast we can complete the revision within the allotted time. Okay. So today we are going to start with enriching vocabulary. So in terms of vocabulary, we will understand what is the importance of framing a sentence, how you have to know different words, what are the importance of knowing words, how words needs to be used, what are the different types of idioms and phrases, proverbs which are being used in English language. Okay, those are the basic contents which we will learn. Again, ma'am, why is this important? Okay, this chapter is important with the perspective of you drafting reports. Once you qualify, you have to draft various reports for you to be okay, for you to be aware of all the important aspects and to know how to draft these reports and how to improve your language and presentation skills. We are going to learn this chapter. Okay, so it's just going to be a revision, but we'll try to go in depth as much as possible. So in this chapter, first I told you we are going to learn about enriching vocabulary. So why is vocabulary important? Okay, what is vocabulary as such? The number of words that you know in English language will be called as vocabulary. Okay, basically if you are very good at knowing your like how we have a dictionary. Okay, dictionary gives us so many words and so many meanings. The similar way, how much of words you know and how you can use these words in construction of various presentation skills. Okay, be it writing or oral presentation, however you want to present certain data, how well you're doing it. Okay, to know this, you should have a good vocabulary skill. Okay, vocabularies in your skills. Vocabulary as such will improve your communication skill, be it written or verbal, okay, or oral form, whichever format you go for. And it will also help your life in enriching your life in your personal atmosphere, in your social atmosphere, and also in your professional atmosphere. Okay, so for this perspective, once you qualify as a CS, we want you to be comfortable in presentation skills. For that perspective, we are concentrating on this particular chapter. Okay, so in this chapter, what are the concepts that we are going to revise today? So we are going to revise a choice of words, synonyms, antonyms, homonyms, homophones, single words for group of words, words frequently being misspelled, idioms and proverbs, followed by idioms and phrases, followed by proverbs, then foreign words and phrases commonly being used in CS profession as such. Okay, so in this, the first one what we are going to cover is the choice of words. So why choice of words plays an important role? See, I told you once you qualify, you will be expected the basic things what you'll be expected to do. Let's say you'll be expected to draft letters to the directors. Okay, draft letters to head of the organizations, whoever it is there, requesting certain information or giving certain information or reports being scrutinized. Okay, you have to give certain information to them. For that perspective, you require writing skills. Then might be you'll be writing agenda or notice or noting down the minutes of the meeting, or you might be writing some documents to the shareholders or any stakeholder. Okay, government authority. Okay, any letter has come, you have to write a response. So for all these things, you should know how to respond to any of these items that's falling into your kitty. Okay, for this perspective, you should know how to choose words. So that's the perspective why we are telling why you have to be important while choosing words. That can be the range or repertoire of words, that is how much of words you know. As I told you, there is a big dictionary, right? The entire dictionary we can't learn it, but we can know the important words, and we need not repeat the same words over and again in the entire statement what we are presenting. Okay, for this perspective, what we can do is we can present a certain things in a few words, and the few words, instead of that, we can use certain synonyms in another place. Okay, similar words in another place, so it looks like as though we know more words, we are presenting it better. For this perspective, you should have a good range of vocabulary. Then the next thing is your audience or persons with whom you're communicating. So I told you, you might be communicating within your organization or outside your organization. So within your organization, whoever you're communicating with, kindly know what is their level of understanding. Okay, you can't write a simple letter to a banker who doesn't know anything about your company, but when you're writing it to your banker or in response to your banker, you should know how letters are being answered to, like how questions are being answered to. For this perspective, you should know with whom you're communicating, okay, who is the other party. So your level of communication will be good. Then you should know which type of communication you're choosing, whether you're giving a written letter or you're doing a telephonic call, or is there any other methods which they have asked for. Okay, we have to know this platform. It can also be a formal a questionnaire which they ask, and in the questionnaire they can have one feedback block. Okay, there you can give your content, okay, which they will say 500 words or 1000 words or 250 words. Within that you should be able to express your entire content, so choosing your words will be important. Then the message you intend to convey, so that's what I'm saying. If they ask you, give you a constraint of words and ask you to express the message, what you want to convey, then you have to choose the right words and try to convey the entire message. Context and usage, so you have to know in which context I'm using the words, because if I don't use it in the right context, it can lead to some wrong sense. Okay, or the message what I'm trying to convey can be entirely different or opposite. This also can be a problem. Then regional or national differences in languages or connotations also influence your choice of words. So you have to today the business is going multinational. Okay, so there can be certain conditions where you will not be working just with Indian companies. Okay, so even if you're working in an Indian company, you might have an investor from some other country. Okay, so the current situation where India is being entering into LPG, that is liberalization, privatization, and globalization. It's already entered. So this concept is moving very much ahead, and this becomes a process where you should know which words are not used in particular countries. Okay, for example, if they have given here in Britain, liberal means, yeah, you're being free, you're being open-minded. But the same term in America, it means you're trying to abuse politically somebody. Okay, so you have to know whether I can use that word in my conversation or not. Okay, you should be aware of that. Then you have improving vocabulary. Here, that's what we are saying. I'll just give you a website. Okay, so in this website you will understand what is the root word. So what is root word? Let's say in improvisation. Okay, in improvisation is a word. In this particular improvisation word, the word improve is the root word. Okay, from the word improve they have identified some word called as improvisation. So you have to know what is the root word for each word and how it can be used. Okay, so if I'm using it in a sentence, how it has to be utilized and how the composition has to be. Okay, for this perspective your vocabulary will play very like your choice of words will play very important role. The next one is adaptation, the best strategy for effective writing, effective wording. So the next one is kindly adapt to the situation where you're trying to where you're trying to understand what is the situation involved. So as I told you, you might be writing a letter to your board of directors, or you might be writing to the head of the companies, or you might be writing it to the shareholders, or to any other people whom you're trying to give the information. Okay, stakeholders. So first we have to know whom we are making this reply to. Okay, and after that, just being clear and concise will not be enough. In this, there is a great deal where you have to understand what is the situation, and based on the situation you have to start answering the or replying for the particular message. Okay, for the sake of being crisp, precise, and knowing that the words what I'm using is less than 250 words or 500 words or 1000 words, don't give up on brevity. Okay, what is brevity? Brevity is you're trying to be precise. Okay, in the same time, just for being brief, you don't have to give up on courtesy. Okay, courteous messages are very, very important. Kindly know at the end when you're presenting any document for that matter that you keep yourself polite and give up a reply saying that we kindly look forward for your response. If any clarifications, kindly respond to us. Okay, so if you have any discomfort, you can call up at this particular number. This is your helpline number. Okay, like this, kindly give certain information so people will know how to reach back to you. Okay, so kindly don't omit on any of these details. Then, tips for choosing the right words. Here, simplicity plays a very, very important role. That is, if you want a quick response, okay, I've written a mail to my directors or I've written a mail to my shareholders. Okay, if I write very complex mail which gives very like the information, okay, I'm going for rights issue. Okay, if I'm going for rights issue, I have to tell them what is the ratio, what is the percentage exchange, what is the first call money, second call money, how it has to be deposited. Okay, I can give it in the terms of bullet points. Instead, if I go and give them a lot of information in paragraphs and one 10-page document, my shareholder will not understand what is the entire information being provided. Okay, they might be lost. For this perspective, it is always expressed in a very good way that keep your messages very short, best and clear, okay, so that the person who is reading that will understand it and respond to you at the earliest. Okay, there is no repeated replies being asked, what is this, what is that, and all those things, and you're not gonna get lost. Then colloquial English is perfectly fine. That is, if I'm talking with a huge number of audience, okay, like my shareholders, if you're working for a listed company and all, you'll have lakhs of people as your shareholders. If I'm talking to such people, then kindly keep a colloquial English. That is the day-to-day English what we speak, and don't go into any high-level vocabulary. Okay, so if you go into high-level vocabulary, it will be difficult for them to follow what are the words or what you're trying to tell. Okay, it will be difficult. The similar way, use familiar words, the words with a sharp and clear meaning. Don't go with any words that are being very harsh or which is not conveying the message entirely. Kindly go with frequently used words which are sharp and which can express your thoughts very clearly. Okay, and don't avoid kindly avoid stiff and more difficult words that are not commonly being used. Okay, but right now if you see after COVID, we know what is quarantine, we know what is a few other words, okay, which we have become pretty familiar. I think a few years down the line, even if you use these words, people will know. But before that, if we try to use these words, people will not know these words. Okay, so kindly know these particular things, whether it is accepted in the place where I'm living. If everybody knows that, then we can go ahead and utilize these words. Okay, then you have the next concept, that is jargons. So what are jargons? Jargons are nothing but the words which are being used in particular industry. So let's say in CS we will use something called as BOD. Okay, so in CS BOD means board of directors. AGM means annual general meeting. Okay, this might be people will be knowing. I'm giving you basic examples. So these are the small terms which we'll use in CS community, or a few people in CA, CMA. Okay, these community will also be knowing. Okay, we'll be using it as secretarial audit, or we'll be saying secretarial standards, or we call it as SS1, SS2, or all these are terms which we'll be using. Okay, so these terms, people who are in CS field, they will understand it very easily. Might be once you come into executive, you will learn all those things. Don't worry. Okay, so these terms are something which is very, very important in that particular field. Okay, the same way if you get into, let's say, technological department or R&D, okay, or any NASA, or any other manufacturing sector, there are certain terms which will be used in that particular industry or in that particular factory. Okay, so however it is possible, in that particular group, that word will be very common and everybody will know that meaning. Okay, I can use those words only with that particular community and not with anybody else, because most of the people outside will not know it. So if I come out of CS fraternity and talk to other people as BOD was being held on this particular day, BOD meeting. So I have to say, I can't say BOD meeting. I have to say the board of directors meeting for this quarter was being held on this particular day by my company. Okay, so I have to explain what I'm trying to tell them. Okay, I have to be very precise, clear, and tell them entirely. This is what is called as jargons. Okay, these jargons are unique for every field. They can be legal jargons, military jargons, political jargons, and again, jargon has two parts. That is, one is the private language that only the person in that particular field can understand, and the second one is widely accepted and phrased in general language and used by public. Okay, political jargons most of the time now we know. Okay, like Modi or GST, okay, or taxation terms. Okay, so these are the small terms which everybody knows. Those terms we can go ahead and use in the same format. Then you had avoiding using superfluous words and verbosity. Here, what is happening? The best example I can give you again is Shashi Tharoor. Okay, so most of the speeches, what he uses very superfluous words. Might be he's very good in his communication skills, but the problem here, what happens is he is using words but we will not understand those words. Okay, or any other person for that matter, when they are presenting in a very high-end language, when they are trying to use, we don't know what is the word, or we don't know what is the root word, we don't know how it is being derived, how it is being used, what is the usage. Okay, we will not understand few concepts. So when you are presenting certain information, kindly know that you don't use superfluous words or verbosity. Instead, use words which you are really comfortable. Okay, if it is unnecessary or something which is not providing clarity, kindly use simple words instead of those. Then choose short words. Might be we'll have words which are like, if you watch any dance programs or something like this, super events or any reality events and all these things, today they started using superfluous, extravagant, something. Okay, they combine two words and make it into complicated, and they make it into their own new word which is being used. Okay, but those words will not be available in the English dictionary. So kindly ensure you're not complicating words by using 2 3 words and trying to present something new. Go with the actual standard words. In the professional world, that is very very important. Keep it very simple. Okay, use long words only when you think that the reader is aware of that. Okay, if you're that's what we told you, know the audience first. So if you're comfortable with your audience, then you can go ahead and use long words. Otherwise, kindly go with short words. Then you have select words for precise meaning. So when you're trying to present something, be it in writing or any verbal or any oral communication, kindly ensure that you're present the language what you're trying to convey, the information what you're trying to convey is of certain use. Okay, certain knowledge is being conveyed there. When uh, and when you're trying to convey this, you personally should have the knowledge of that particular language. When I have that particular language knowledge, then I will understand how words are being used. For example, fewer and less. Fewer will be in terms of quantity. Okay, if I have to in terms of items. So let's say items will be, I have fewer number of apples. I have fewer number of the stock is I have fewer stock. Okay, like that for identifying something, I will give it as fewer. Less will be decrease. Okay, the diesel price is reduced, or less consumption of diesel is being there. Okay, something like that. When I use words like less, so I should know where to use fewer, where to use less. Okay, that's important when I'm presenting a document. Then use gender neutral words. So today you have to understand that the world is completely open for everybody. Okay, it is no more a male dominated world. Even we have females today, women taking up higher position. If you see, for example, before we used to call it as chairman. Okay, everywhere, every board meeting we had to call it as chairman, but today we don't call them as chairman, we call it as chairperson or presiding officer or chair, just simply chair. Okay, so it can be a male or a female. Whoever takes up the chair, they will be addressed in their particular way. So don't go with he everywhere. Okay, or male dominated speeches everywhere. So kindly keep it as general neutral, and just give it as they, anybody, or if you're writing it as a particular he, if you have to write, just put a slash and write she. Okay, he/she, whoever is taking up the position will be called as assistant company secretary. Okay, like this we have to keep everything neutral and don't try to make it into a dominant word. Okay, so this is what we call it as use general neutral words in your writing skills. So that is with perspective to your choosing the words exactly the right way in order to present your documentations, okay, whichever presentations that you want to do. The next one, what we're going to understand is synonyms. So what are synonyms? Synonyms are nothing but, we all would have studied in school, there is something called as similar words and there is something called as opposite words. Okay, so okay, the first synonym will be similar words. We all know in school they called it as similar words, but now they call it as synonyms. Opposite words are being called as antonyms. Okay, but in school what they would have thought is every word has an equal opposite. Okay, so every word, if it is tall, it is short. If it is big, it is small. Okay, like this they would have told for everything there is a standard opposite or there is a standard similar word, but actually in English language that doesn't happen. Okay, so every language, even though it is so intense, so wide, whatever explain, every word will not have a similar meaning equal word or exact meaning opposite word. Okay, for example, see here, similar words, okay, they are called as similar words, synonyms: easy, simple, light, effortless, facile, smooth. Okay, so when I give all these things, what it means, it'll be easiest, I can do this task easily. Okay, simple, I can climb the stairs, it is pretty simple. Okay, or this is light, I can carry it. This is an effortless work and we could complete it very fast. All these words when you see has different meaning when I use it in a particular sentence. Okay, so these are called as synonyms. So synonyms will not have same meaning. That's what we have to understand. It will not have, when I'm using it in a particular sentence, the way it is being used will be different. Okay, for this perspective we should always understand when I'm using a particular word, it can have similar context but will not have exact meaning. Okay, based on the usage these words will be used in a different fashion. The same way you have effort, exertion, pains, trouble, or elastic, flexible, supple, springy, resilient. Okay, so we have to know exact same meaning will not be available. Based on the usage it will differ. Similar, they have given it as begin, commence, start, and initiate. So begin is you begin a work, commence is something, some process is commencing, start is a race or something is starting, initiate is the new process which we are trying to initiate. Okay, might they all uh, say that something is gonna start. Okay, but the meaning start will not be applicable in all contexts. In certain contexts I have to use words like initiate, commence, begin, like this. Okay, so these will be the words. So here they have given you a set of words. Okay, in exam how will they ask us? They can ask you identify the synonyms for the following words. Okay, they can give you first question adapt, and they can give you four options. In four options they will ask you what does adapt means. Okay, then abstrain, they can ask you what is abstrain. They can give you four options. In that four options you have to identify which is the option. Okay, or abridge, they can give you four options and they can ask you what is the answer. You can go ahead and select one answer. So this is how questions will be asked with respect to synonyms, antonyms, and all these things. Okay, so questions in this chapter will basically be of these words. If you ask us, ma'am, if we study only these words, is it enough? Here, if you see the number of words provided are, we have provided you, but we have not provided you an extensive list. But basic words, if you try to slowly build up, it will be easier. Since your exams are nearing right now, go through these words and few other words, new words, whatever you come through, immediately try to go through a dictionary or something and try to understand those words. Okay, once you try to understand those words, it will be easier for you to interpret. Okay, then you have antonyms. So what are antonyms? Antonyms, again, I told you, antonyms are the opposites. Okay, so one word doesn't have exact opposite. As we told you, as one word doesn't have exact similar, the same way a word will not have exact opposite. So based on your usage, the word's opposite meaning will differ. For example, soft drinks will always be, the opposite will be hot drinks. Soft color will be bright color. Soft tone will be weird tone. Then you have uh, then you have a soft texture against rough texture. Then you have soft light against glaring light. Similarly, you have slender cane, you have thick cane. Slender man, you have a fat man. When you have slender chance, you have a bright chance. Okay, so the meaning of soft is not hard. Okay, if you see it became hot, bright, weird, tough, glaring. All this depends based on the usage. Okay, based on my usage, the opposite words can differ in meaning. So, what happens with opposite words? So here we have given you a set of opposite words. Okay. Again, if you ask us, ma'am, is this enough for exam? Yes. As of now, since you're nearing your exam dates, go through these words, understand the meaning, and understand the opposites. Okay. In general, when you go there for exam, when they ask you certain words, start practicing slowly now. Daily, if you practice 30-40 words, okay, practicing is just going through them and understanding what is the meaning. Okay, if you do these particular small exercises, okay, maybe 1 15-20 minutes a day sometime, okay, even if you have like five days, okay, more, then you will have 30 words a day, means you would have learned almost 150 words. Okay, you'll not put in a lot of efforts, easily you can do this, it's not a big thing. For this, I'll just give you one website, just a minute. Ma'am, will the exam be very tough? It depends on your ability, Neha. Okay, so this is the website. I'll just run you through, so because you're running short of time, it'll be. Is everyone able to see my screen here? Go back. Okay, so this is basically M-W. Okay, so when they ask, let's say I want a word, adaptation. What is this? Just a minute, just a minute. Okay, so I'm giving it as adaptation. Okay, when I give this particular word, what will it say? If you can see this word, adaptation, here it says this is a noun word. Okay, if I click on this, so it will tell me the phonetic. Phonetic is nothing but how a word needs to be pronounced. Okay, so for that it will show me. If I click on this, it will show me. So it will tell me how to pronounce this particular word. Okay, and after that it will tell me what is the exact meaning. So there are three ways. What are the meanings? Okay, these meanings and how a statement will be, sentence will be formed. Okay, for this particular word, they'll give me what are my synonyms. So these are my synonyms, and if you come down, it will also give you your antonyms. Why is it not giving me antonyms? Okay, it will give me what is the meaning of this. It will also generally give what is, just a minute, I'll just try another word. Okay, it will just tell what is the word, how it is used. It will tell me what is the synonym. It will also generally say antonyms. I don't know. Just go and check this website once. Okay, if you check, then it will be easier for you to interpret this. Clear? Any doubts with this particular website? One minute, I'm just checking this question if somebody has doubts. If I start studying now, will I pass? Yes, you will definitely pass, don't worry. Okay, yeah, fine. So for this, what you can do is just go ahead. There is also an app, okay, on Play Store. You can download MI-W. You can give the word. Even in mobile, you can start practicing. Okay, you don't need a system or anything. In the mobile, you can start practicing for these words. It'll be easier for you to understand. Okay, so we'll just go ahead. So the next concept what you have is homophones. So what is homophones? Homophones will be something like same words. Okay, when I pronounce the word will sound as similar, but the meaning will be different. Okay, so homophone is something where I'm trying to tell the same word, but the meaning will be different. Okay, here something like this: access, access. Access is I have access to go to some place. Access is I have abundant. Okay, the same way you have advise and advice. Okay, here it will be MI from W is the same app. You can download it in Apple Store. Okay. Mm, here advice and advice, so you have to know advice wherever ce comes it is wherever ce comes it is noun, wherever se comes it is a verb. So I've told you what is noun and a verb in the previous class. The same concept is here. If a ce comes it is a noun, se comes it is a verb. Okay, so advice, advice, then you have eight, then you have bear, bear, then you have sell, sell. Okay, so these words will be called as similar words, but these words is basically when I pronounce it sounds same, but when I use it will be different. Okay, those are called as homonyms. Then you have homophones. Homophones are something where the words will be same, but based on the usage, the meaning will differ. For example, address, address. Okay, I can give you the address of a good attorney. This is the address of my place. Okay, so address will differ in two contexts. Then you have band. Band is hairband. Then you have music playing band. Bat, you have the coronavirus bat, and the other one is cricket bat. Then you have match. Match, one is the cricket match what they play, and the second one is matchstick what you have. Okay, then you have mean, mean, right, right. One right is going right, the other right is doing things that are right. Okay, so these are the words which will always have two different meanings, but the word, the lettering of the word, okay, how it is lettered, the lettering will be same. Those are called as homonyms. Okay, then you have single words for a group of words. So what happens with single word for a group of words? Okay, how will this be asked in the exam? So generally what they will do, they'll give you this particular statement like greed, inordinate desire to gain and hoard wealth. Okay, they'll ask you give the single word for this particular word out of the four options. Then you have to identify and write it as avarice. Okay, or they can give it as that which cannot be done by force. Okay, impregnable. So they will ask you this particular explanation, and then they will ask you what is the single word for that. Okay, or they can give you this particular word and they can ask you what is the meaning of this particular word. Okay, it can be vice versa. So what words are given in this particular chapter, that should be more than enough. Okay, so these things will be more than enough. Then you have words frequently misspelled. You people are constantly sending chat messages, but I'm not. I've closed my chat, okay, because I'm completing this. After completing this chapter, I'll just take 2 or 3 minutes. At that time, you can post because this is a crash course. Okay, you listen to this. I'll give you 2 3 minutes after completing this chapter. At that time, you can ask all your questions. Okay, don't panic or don't try to be lost or something. Just revise. Be calm. It's easier only. The exam is easier. Don't worry. Okay. Then then you have the next concept, that is words that are being frequently misspelled. So there will be certain words which we constantly misspell. Okay, so there can be a spelling mistake, and this spelling mistake will be really awkward when anybody identifies this. Okay, so when you're going forward, once you qualify as CS, you'll not be like an executive or somebody. Okay, the minimum level that you will start working will be as an assistant manager or something like this. So when you get into positions like this, they expect you to have certain good language and vocabulary. For this perspective, we always say, kindly know that the language what you're using is very good, and be confident in the language what you're using. Kindly don't make any mistakes. If you make any mistakes and if anybody identifies that, it'll be very embarrassing. Okay, for that perspective, always know what are the words that are being commonly misspelled, like absence being taken into any of these words, accommodate being misspelled, M being left out, achieve generally EI being made into a mistake. Then you have calendar it's being made, liaison or receipt or tomorrow. Okay, so these are the examples what they have given where they are saying the words can be generally being misspelled. Kindly ensure that you don't enter into any spelling mistakes, okay, when you're presenting a document. Then you have spelling and pronunciation. I've already told you in the same M-W website. Okay, if you go there and click on that small speaker button, okay, it will tell you how to use how a pronunciation needs to be done of a particular word. It'll tell you how to pronounce. So kindly use certain apps like that. Any app, whichever app you're comfortable. I've been using that for almost past 12 years. Okay, so and I'm pretty comfortable. That's why if anybody asks me, I suggest the same app. So same website. So even you can try that particular website, help you in how learning how to pronounce. So if you have it as a mobile app, it is much more easier, where we just give that particular word in any case, like we are somewhere out, we want to know, okay, if we want to understand or anything like that, at that time we can go and then we can use this particular website m-w.com, okay, or the app, which either way you can use it and it will help you for pronunciation. Okay, so kindly ensure when you are in any giving any oral speech, pronunciation will be very, very important. Kindly don't miss out on the pronunciation. Okay, this will play a very important role. So good dictionary also provide a phonetic chart. I told you a phonetic chart in that particular website only. I told you. Just a minute. Yeah. If you just see here, this is called phonetic chart. Okay. How it needs to be pronounced. Adjustment. Okay, adjustment. This is called phonetic charts. Okay, this will always be there in any dictionary that you use. Okay, these phonetic charts will play an important role in understanding how to pronounce a particular word. Okay, so then you have spelling errors. The next concept that we want to understand is spelling errors. Kindly don't waste your time texting there. Listen to the chapter. We will go back and answer your questions. I'll listen to your I'll answer your chat box questions after completing this chapter. So come back. Okay, listen to this. Then you have spelling errors. Spelling errors are something which happens most oftenly. Okay, as I told you, the words which we make, for the words what we make, for those words, while writing or presenting anything, there can be certain mistakes. Okay, so kindly don't make those mistakes. Kindly ensure that when you're writing something, ensure the spellings are proper. For example, certain alphabets and letters are repeated in a word, like tomorrow, profession, occasion, beginning. Kindly note which words are repeated. One has to sometimes choose between EI and IE. Okay, view, receive, conceive, deceive, perceive, achieve. Okay, so kindly ensure that you are writing proper IE or EI. Then you have E can be either dropped or retained when changing the root word. This happens in truly. Okay, truly you can leave out E, but sincerely you can't leave out E. Okay, no, it's not allowed. Then you have an extra letter at an extra letter at times alters the meaning of the word lose. Okay, when noun and verb form the same word, have different spelling. Advice, practice. Okay, so kindly know CE means noun, SE means verb. So kindly don't change C and S. Then you have when you have the same pronunciation but different spelling, whether, break, there. Okay, so please be sure that you're using the right words. When a choice has to be made between ISE and IZE, ISE is more like British accent and IZE is more of American accent. If you're going with ISE in the entire paragraph or entire writing report, whatever you go, kindly go with ISE, don't change to IZE. If you're following IZD, the entire document kindly follow IZD. It's a basic principle, keep the uniformity throughout the passage. Okay. Then you have when a when a word similarly spelled has two variant with different meaning in past and past participle form. That is lie, lied, lied, lie, lay, laid. Okay. So we did past tense, present tense, and future tense. In that, kindly know how the word is being used. Okay. Don't make all these mistakes while presenting any document. Then you have stress and rhythm. So stress and rhythm is something uh, um, where we have to understand the syllable, the minimum sounds of a spoken language. One syllable is fame, okay, fame, name, claim. Two syllable is confess, that is confess, that is two syllable, or redress, that is two syllable. Three syllable will be sacrifice, okay, or tarpaulin. Okay, that's called as three syllable. Four syllable will be retribution or satisfaction, or it can be trans transatlantic. Okay, so these are called as four syllables. So how many words I'm trying to pronounce, in how many letters or alphabets that I'm trying to pronounce, or the how do you say this, yeah, basically how many words I pronounce in a particular word. Okay, that will be called as my syllable. Okay, kindly know which one to stress, which one not to stress. Okay, in pronunciation, that's very, very important. Every word you can't stress. Okay, if you see the phonetic chart, every word we are not supposed to stress. We are supposed to stress only on particular words which are important. Okay, in order to have in order to achieve good and clear speech, we must learn to recognize the stress syllabus in a word. Okay, we shouldn't stress on every alphabet that is there in a word. We should know which one we have to refer. Then we have abbreviations. So what are abbreviations? Abbreviations are nothing but short forms. Okay, short forms of any words, phrases, text, everything put together will be called as short form. So for a word, it can be okay, we'll just see what are words. Phrases, again, etc, etc will be a small one, or with respect to, or please find attached PFA. Okay, so those will be called as phrases. Words are etc, etc, e.g., example. Okay, those are things. Then text also, bigger text, whatever is there, even that we can make it into short forms. Like what all you have WhatsApp language, all those will be called as abbreviations. In case of any degrees or any abbreviations which we are using, then it will be BBC, British Broadcasting Corporations, or MS means manuscript. Okay, these are the short forms. Or it can be acronyms, are words formed by initial letters of the other words. That is UNICEF. These are called as acronyms. Okay, UNICEF is United Nations International Child Emergency Fund, or ICI, or it can be IDBI or HDFC, all the GST. Okay, so all these things will be called as acronyms. Okay, then you have the first letter of a single word, that is Mr. or Doctor, or scientific terms like kilo, pound, meter, amphimeters, or feet, yard. Okay, so all these things. Or you can have chemical compositions like hydrogen, water, and all these things. Okay, these are your abbreviations. In abbreviations, if I go on to for plurals, then P will be called my page. PP will be called as my pages. Okay, or MLAs, MPs, if I have to do it. Others, I'll write it in capital. The plural, I will write it in small letter S. Okay, Mr. Capital will be Messrs. This is how we write it. Or it can be 1 kg, 4 kg. Before only we'll put it off. So it will be plural. Okay, this is the plural way of writing an abbreviation. Okay, so I'll just take up your question for 1 minute, if anything related to this, if you have. Study material is more than enough. Okay. Somebody is asking whether study material is enough. Yes, this is enough. Ma'am, will we be guided before exam that how online exam will be conducted? Kindly check with the chapter. Generally, they do provide like how it is being done. We'll give you a PDF, in that it will be provided how to log in, what are the requirements. Ma'am, these business letters can be asked in what way? When I take up that particular chapter, we will cover. Viva, yes, it's not related to this. See, with respect to questions asked in this particular chapter, I told you synonyms, antonyms, all these things. They'll give you a particular word, they'll give you 4 options. You have to identify out of that. That's how questions will be asked from this particular chapter. Okay. Which app M-W? M-W. Okay. After seeing your videos, can I pass? No, just by seeing videos, you can't pass. You have to study. Okay. Yeah, M-W is the same thing. Acronym is a short form of the capital words which is being used, that will be called as, and which is globally accepted or in the nationally accepted, that will be called as acronyms. Abbreviations are any short forms which you use. Okay, it need not be officially accepted, but acronyms will be officially accepted. Okay, by any organization that is forming it, but abbreviations will not be generally accepted. It depends from organization to organization where you're working, but in global context you can use your abbreviations everywhere. That's the difference between acronyms and abbreviations. Do we need to read this information for MCQ? Which information? Okay, fine. Okay. Carry forward schemes. See, anything related to exams, kindly check with your chapter. Anything related to this particular subject, if you have doubts, kindly let me know. Okay, so all doubts are being cleared with respect to this. So the next concept that we are gonna understand is what is the idioms and phrases. Okay, so idioms and phrases are basically the words which are being commonly used in order to give a meaning. Okay, so directly when I don't want to study when I directly don't want to explain certain things, okay, I will just go ahead and give certain words. Basically, here if you see, they have given you 2 ways. That is fall. Instead of telling he had a very bad fall, I can just say it as his fall was similar to a sparrow's fall, or his fall was similar to a Roman Empire's fall. Okay, where I'm going and explaining that instead of giving it directly, I'm giving it as a particular word. Okay, so just like how you have many people in your family also, instead of telling directly, they will tell indirectly that you're a pampered kid, you're a spoiled kid. Okay, like this they can give you certain words which are being very commonly used in your particular language. Okay, so these things are certain things which are being called as idioms. Okay, instead of telling it directly, we just use certain phrases which will exactly mean what I want to say. Okay, when I don't want to use a particular word, instead of that I will go ahead and use my idioms or phrases. Okay, in that is called as my idiom. In phrases, what happens is, we had explained this chapter also. Here this phrase will be certain things where it's not a complete sentence. It will not have a subject, it will not have a predicate, and it will not be a complete sentence grammatically correct. Okay, but it is a small group of words which will still convey a particular, like on the hill, about town, under the tree. Okay, where were you under the tree? Where were you in the room? Okay, so you're not saying I was in the room. Okay, instead of that, you're just saying in the room. Okay, so these are certain words which will exactly give you the meaning, but it is not a complete sentence. That will be called as my phrases. Okay, so here, if you see, there are some verbal phrases. So, with respect to idioms, also, they can ask you, beat back means what does it mean? Okay, they can give you 4 options and they can ask you what is the meaning. So for that perspective, you should know what this means. Okay, the similar way, if you go, then you have boil down to, that means to reduce in quantity or to amount to. This entire argument boiled down to the fact that he would not join the movement unless he saw some monetary gain in it. Okay, so to boil down to means to amount to. So this is how you're going to understand to boil down to amount to. So for this perspective, kindly read the entire sentence after the idiom, okay, and understand how it is being used. Only if you understand how the idiom is being used, you will know the meaning. Okay, just by a few people will just read this. Oh, this one, ma'am has told. Okay, in exam they will ask. I'll just read this much. Okay, in every statement I will write only what is the idiom, what is the meaning. Okay, if you're doing like that, it won't be helpful for you, like you can't remember more things. Okay, it's better you read the idiom, you know the meaning, then read the entire sentence how it is being used. Okay, then you will understand the exact meaning and it will stay for a longer time till you complete your exams at least. Okay, I don't know whether you'll use it practically, but once you start coming into your office work or professional world, you will start using all these things. So kindly go through these idioms, understand what is the meaning, understand how it is being used in a sentence. Okay, with respect to idioms, what's given in the textbook with respect to idiom, okay, that's more than enough. Okay, so for idioms, you don't require any additional things to be studied or anything. What's given here, that's more than enough. But kindly go through all the idioms and understand how it is being done. What is the full form of idiom? There is no full form. The spelling mistake, you have just given it as EDM. It is not idiom. This is idiom. Okay, this word is called idiom. Okay, so with respect to idioms, they have given you a lot of idioms. Kindly go through all these idioms, understand the idiom, understand its meaning, understand the sentence, how it is being used. Okay, that will be helpful. So they have given you war related, all these idioms, many idioms are being provided. Kindly go through all. Then the next concept that we are going to understand after idioms is going to be proverbs. So proverbs are nothing but what we had it as duhas in schools we would have studied, okay, or thirukurals or any other regional proverbs what we have studied, words what we have studied. Those are basically called as dohas. Proverbs. Okay, so proverbs are basically the truths which is being spoken over a period of time, and it is generally used in business communication as well. Okay, so instead of writing the same old thing, what we are going to do is we are going to write proverbs in order to say that yes, we are interested or we have lost it or we don't want to do it. Okay, so in writing your letters or whichever communication methods which you're trying to use, if you use proverbs, it will be good as an opening line or it can be good as a closing line. Okay, for this perspective you can go ahead and use proverbs. Okay, so these will be called as proverbs. So with respect to proverbs, if you see, you have hope springs eternally in the human breast. That means one should never lose hope. Okay, they can ask you in exams. They will again ask you how will this question arrive from this. So they can generally ask you this particular question. Okay, this as your question, and they can ask you what does this proverb mean. Okay, for this perspective again, they have given you a couple of proverbs here. Kindly go through those proverbs. What is given in the textbook is enough for this. Only for synonyms and antonyms you have to learn more words, but for proverbs and idioms, what's given in the textbook is more than enough. Kindly go through those and you will have a rough idea to answer all these words. Okay, you need not be worried. Then you have foreign words and phrases. So foreign words and phrases are, see, in general context, what happens is when once you start into CS as a profession, okay, we will use a lot of legal terms, but these legal terms will not be from India. Okay, they will be Latin originated, or they will be German originated, or they will be French originated. Okay, they can be any other origin, but it will be generally being used in English, like in our legal language. Okay, so these will be called as foreign languages, which will be used in our communication. For example, if you see, L means Latin, F means French, G means Greek. Okay, ab initio. Ab initio means from the beginning. This is derived from a Latin word. Okay, ab origin means from the origin. Okay, this is again a Latin word, or it can be something like uh, addenda, list of additions that's being made to a book, or it can be ad valorem, that is according to the value. Okay, so again here, ma'am, how will the questions be asked? It is simple. this particular word will be given and they'll ask you what is the meaning of this particular word. For this, they'll again give you 4 options, and in the 4 options you have to identify what is the answer. What foreign words given in the textbook is more than enough. You need not read any other new foreign words. Kindly go through these words and understand what is the meaning. Okay, just read these words, start practicing every day 10 words. It will be more than enough. Not many words are there, but these words are more than enough. Okay. Then you have abbreviated form of words. So abbreviated form of words, again the same, abbreviations. Abbreviations are nothing but the short form of that particular big word. Okay, so let's say, as I told you, in CS language we call it as BOD. Okay, or we call it as SS1, SS2, SS3, like this we call. Or what are the other abbreviations? Simple abbreviations, CSR. Okay, so these are small abbreviations which we use in our particular profession. Okay, so these words, when I'm doing a official document representing it to the shareholders or anybody, I can't use these words. Okay, as it is, I have to use words like the full form of that particular word. That is more important. That's what we call it as abbreviation. So don't go with abbreviation. As much as possible, kindly write the entire explanation. Okay, the entire, don't write any short forms, go with the exact meaning. That is very, very important. With respect to abbreviation, what do they say? Do not use an abbreviation if it can be easily avoided. So if you can avoid that, for instance, if you're writing it as for example, okay, or if you're just writing example, e.g. or ex, instead of that you can write for instance. Okay, that is a good way in which you're trying to explain your document. So try to avoid these abbreviations as much as possible. But might be when you're taking notes, or when you're in a discussion, you want to scribble down certain things. Okay, we are in BOD, we'll be attending the BOD, we are the people who are supposed to write the minutes. So in that case, you can scribble down all these things. Okay, after scribbling, this information can be used for presentation as well. Like when I'm presenting the report, there I have to explain it in full. Okay, don't keep it in abbreviation. In an abbreviation, use full stop and capital letter in the conventional way. So basically, if you see in schools, they would have thought, if you're writing example, the capital letter should be E followed by G or X in a small letter followed by a dot. Or if it is etc., we generally write it as capital E T C dot. Okay, so kindly follow that method. Only then many people will understand. Okay, if you are working within India or within the place where you're comfortable, okay, fine. But your document is being circulated to many people abroad, like you're working with inter-country people and all, then kindly you use this pattern, because people will know whether it is an abbreviation or not. Okay, for that perspective, it is important. Then do not forget to punctuate the rest of the sentence normally. So punctuation has to be very important. Don't miss out on full stop, comma, apostrophe, colon, semicolon, and all these things when you're writing when you're using your abbreviations. Okay, even if you're using your abbreviations, kindly ensure you're not going for short forms. Okay, then you have these are the basic abbreviations which are being used that they have given you. With respect to abbreviation, again, words such as through, okay, don't use this word. Instead of night, don't use night. Okay, what are the what we are not supposed to do? Days of the week or month of the year in the normal flow of text, kindly ensure you write all the things. Then words at the beginning of the sentence should not be a short form or an abbreviation. Okay, it won't look good. Kindly present the entire thing. People's name, unless those abbreviations have become commonly accepted, like Modi, NM, or Amit Shah, okay, or Yadurappa, okay, or YSB, okay, like this. If the name is entirely known to everybody around, then we can go and give the short form. Otherwise, don't give it. Then course such as eco for economics or poli science for political science, don't use certain things like this. Okay, it's always advisable. Kindly go ahead and write the entire word. That will be very, very helpful. Okay, this is with respect to your second chapter. I will take up your doubts for the next 2-3 minutes. Kindly, what is related to this particular chapter, ask me. With respect to exams, don't ask. I will not be answering them. Okay, ma'am, there are questions that are out of syllabus, but following the pattern as in syllabus. Kindly follow the pattern words being given in the syllabus. That's more than enough. Ma'am, do you have MCQ based on this subject? No, we don't make any MCQ questions, you have ICSI mock test, you can take the same. How to take it, kindly contact the respective chapters. They will tell you how to log in and go to that particular website. Be able to pass if you start studying anytime, you will clear. When to use noun or verb, it depends how you are using a particular word. If you're starting the sentence with a noun, then noun pronunciation will start with CE. And if you're starting your in the usage of your sentence, in between, if you're using this word, I gave this particular advice to them, okay, then it will be advice will be an action, then it will be SE, okay. Full form of idiom. Idiom is not EDM, it is IDIOMS, okay, that's idioms. Okay. Ma'am, we have to learn all idioms because there are so many idioms. Yes, it's better you go through all the idioms. It will be easy. Okay. Ma'am, can you please provide us with this particular PDF? See, this particular PDF will not work with you because mine is a paid version of PDF. There I can highlight this. Okay, I have done that. Even if I send you this, it will open up as a normal PDF. So kindly go ahead and download your normal PDF from ICSI. Okay, website. Ma'am, in case of foreign words, can they ask from where the words are originated? No, they will not ask what is the origin of the word. They will just ask you what is the meaning of the word. Okay, they'll give you the word, they'll give you the 4 options, and they will ask you what is the meaning of that particular word. Then you have, ma'am, can you give example sentences of advice and advice? See, kindly go ahead and check in Google, okay, how this or MI from W, it will give you advice and advice, both you can give, and it will give you how it is being utilized, because we don't have time to complete all those things now. Okay. Is there any book you refer for synonyms? No, I don't refer any book for synonyms. Just MI from W should work. Where we find mock test answers we generally don't give, but the mock test will be conducted by ICSI. You can check on that. Ma'am, I have a doubt in chapter business communication. Can I ask now? No, when I take business communication, kindly ask that. Mark weightage chapter wise? No, there is nothing like that. How many marks can we expect from this chapter? No, we don't have anything like that. Ma'am, presentation and communication will be the form of business communication or not? Yes, it is a form of business communication. What are idioms? Idioms I explained you already. Idioms are nothing but words which are being used or phrases which are being used instead of telling it directly. I use it another word, so it means exactly what I'm trying to say. Okay, so in idioms they have given you the idiom, they have given you the meaning. You can understand both of that and see how in a sentence it is being used. Okay. How to write the dates in word form? I don't know what you mean by that. Abbreviation and short form are one and the same. Yes. So don't repeat your questions. With idioms, I told you already, they can ask you one idiom and they ask you what is the meaning of that particular idiom. So kindly learn the idiom along with the meaning. Okay. Minimum passing marks for each subject will be 40%. Overall, you should have 50% to pass CSEET. Okay. Okay, fine. So I'm just gonna go to the next chapter. Okay, just a minute. I've told you already the meaning of abbreviation and acronyms. Acronyms are globally accepted short forms of organizations, whereas abbreviations are the short forms which is being used by individuals, okay, or organizations. That's what is called as abbreviation and acronyms. When things are explained, kindly concentrate. Don't concentrate on other things. Okay. Then you have the next concept, that is we are going to the next chapter, that is comprehension of passage and art of summarizing. Okay, so kindly start concentrating. I'm not answering to your chat box questions now. Okay, kindly start concentrating. We will do the answering later. You have doubt session exclusively on Friday. We'll take it up on that particular day. Okay. The next concept what we are going to understand is passage writing. Okay, so why passage is important? So here if you see in this particular chapter, we are helping you to understand or summarize a passage and know based on that passage when we give you a question how much of content you have grasped. Okay, so with this perspective we often teach you as to how to read a passage. So basically, if you see company law or company secretary as such, you have many things to read. Okay, so once you qualify, also you'll be studying a lot of things. You'll be reading a lot of reports and all these things. When you're doing all these things, we want you to we want to know whether in the basic first instance you were able to read a particular paragraph and grasp the information what's being given there. Okay, so in this chapter they are going to test whether when we give you a passage, okay, are you able to read it? Okay, so after reading that passage, how much of information given in the passage you have grasped that information? Okay, based on that information what you have grasped, okay, certain questions will be asked. Are you able to answer those questions or not? Okay, that's what they are trying to understand. Why this is important? Because in future you will be studying so many reports, so many presentations you'll be making, you will be drafting so much of information, or even going forward executive professional and all, you'll be studying so much of information. So when you're studying all this information, we want to understand whether you're able to grasp the information what's being provided there, because as the information becomes big, okay, you will lose out on certain things. You will lose out on what's being explained to you, or how much information you studied. What I studied in the first two pages, I forgot when I came to the fifth or sixth page. Okay, so these can be certain situations. To avoid this, what we are doing, we are helping you to study a passage with much of concentration. Okay, so we are analyzing that skill in this particular chapter. Okay, so here we will understand with respect to comprehension what are the important things. So if you see with respect to comprehension, what are the important things? The things will be read the passage as fast as possible. So if you start practicing, or if you have practiced for any exams, okay, like masters, or like cat exam or any other exams like this, there they will also analyze your reading skills. Okay, how fast you are able to read a passage and how fast you are able to interpret the answers. So these things become very, very important. So a reading ability, or the speed of your reading, will play a very important role. So per minute how many words you are able to complete, all these things will play an important role in passage reading. Okay, but since now this is all a beginner level, or CSEET is just a foundation level, we won't go in depth as such. We'll just be given one small passage which will be like 400, 500 or 600 words. Okay, a small passage which you have to read. Okay, but when you're reading it, you have to read it fast. Next, what's important, go thoroughly involved with the passage, understand with the paragraph to understand it. So when you're reading the passage fast, just don't read it for the sake of reading. Understand each thing what is being provided there. Underline important lines or parts of the passage to answer the questions. It will also help to understand the main idea of the passage, or the tone or mood of the author. So when you're trying to read a passage right now, you don't have what do you call it's not a physical test, it is going to be an online test. So if you want to make any particular notes or something, you can scribble down those points. Okay, so if you feel this person is saying this, okay, he told this, then he told this, this is what he told. Okay, like that you can make a short note if you want. So it becomes easier for you when you are going through the questions. Okay, then try to translate a complex line in an easy one in your own words and your own language. This will help you analyze the main idea of the paragraph and in seeking the cause and effect of a passage. So basically when you're trying to analyze an entire paragraph, okay, If you are not able to understand a particular sentence, read it twice or read it thrice. So once you get a basic idea of that, convert it into your understanding, whichever way you are able to understand, convert that particular sentence into your understanding. Okay, then after that you start going ahead with the rest of the passage. Underline or mark the keywords. So I've told you already, whatever is the important keywords or anything like that, kindly go ahead and start underlining that. Okay, so it will become easier for you to understanding the logical connections. Then try to understand some certain unfamiliar words by reading the line thoroughly. So if there are any words which you don't know the meaning, so read it over and above. If you read it twice or thrice, you will understand in what context that particular word is being used. Okay, therefore you will understand the entire meaning of that particular sentence. Determine the main idea, tone, or mood, interference reasoning, and other details. So, what is the main idea? What is the main context? What they are trying to explain in this? What is the tone in which it is being expressed, whether it is being as a direct tone or it is being an indirect tone, or whether it is being whether it is active voice which they are trying to explain, or indirectly they are telling somebody has gone through this, whether they are explaining that. Okay, so understand all these concepts when you are reading a particular passage. Do not assume anything based on your personal belief. So based on your personal belief, if there is anything, don't interpret your information passage what is being given based on your personal belief. So whatever is given in the context, just read that and interpret it. Look back at the paragraph when you're in doubt. So might be when you're going through the questions. Okay, the questions you are running through, you don't know what are the questions, how it is coming, how I need to answer. If you have all these basic things, then what you can do, if you are not able to identify any of the answers, then go back to the paragraph again and see where this particular question will fall, understand that particular paragraph, and then you try to answer it. Okay, then read the questions and all the alternatives provided and choose the most appropriate one. So generally what happens, we will give you one question followed by four options. So read the question properly, and after reading the question properly, then you interpret, and out of the four options what's being provided, kindly provide that as your alternative. Okay, then what are the things that I need to remember when I'm doing a passage reading? There are certain things. What are those certain things? The first thing is find the central idea in the passage. Okay, when I'm doing a passage, I have to understand what is the central theme, what they are trying to explain, what is this concept all about, whether it is related to technology or whether it's related to language, history, science, education, agriculture, irrigation, invention, research and development. Okay, so what is the main idea of this passage? Okay, when you start reading a passage, understand what it is given about, then focus on the detail. Once you know what they are talking about, then start focusing on the details what they have given in that particular passage. Then you have to understand logically how it is structured, how it is starting, what are the things that's coming in picture, what are the important items. Okay, so all these things you have to start understanding. And after that, the final thing is understand the tone of the passage message what's being conveyed, or the passage. So it can be a diplomatic tone, it can be an active tone, it can be a positive tone, it can be a negative tone. They are cribbing about that or they are appreciating that particular process. Okay, so anything can be there. So understand what is the tone of that particular message. So all these four things will play an important role when I'm doing a passage reading. Okay, so based on these four items, we are going to start with passage reading. So in this passage reading, you should have certain other basic skills as well. That is, what are the other skills? First one is logical ability. First, understand logically how the information is being presented. So, how did they start with the information? How the information is flowing? What are the importance? Okay, so all these things will be important. After that, the fluency in your language. So, understand how fluent you are, how you're able to express the thoughts, how fast you're able to read, how fast you're able to interpret and understand this. Next is inference power. So there'll be, let's say they would have given one 10 to 12 or 15 sentences. Okay, so try to read all the 15 sentences and understand how each sentence is connected with one another. Like it will be a plus. First sentence plus second sentence will give me some information, plus third sentence will give me some more additional information. So understand how this information is flowing. Based on that, you analyze what are the importance to be taken into consideration. Then reasoning ability. So they have given me certain information. Is this correct? If they ask me a question, how am I supposed to answer? Will my reasoning be yes or will it be no? How can we know whether it's yes or no? It's based on your understanding. Okay, you have to read the particular passage, you have to interpret it, and only after that you can tell whether it is a yes or it is a no. If you ask for a shortcut for that we can't provide you. Okay, it's all based on your interpretation. Then you have sentence construction and cohesion. So here what happens is how a sentence is being constructed, whether it is in direct speech, indirect speech, active voice, passive voice, long sentence, short sentence, complex sentence. Okay, how the sentence is being constructed we have to understand. Then again, reading speed. I've told you the pace in which you try to read a passage should be fast, but not just reading fast is important. While reading it fast, you should be able to interpret and grasp as much information as possible, like what the author is trying to tell, what is the information that is being given to us, whether the information is clear, what is he talking about, what kind of sentences he's framing, what is the logical connectivity. Okay, all these things we have to understand. Then you have vocabulary power. So you should know what is the synonym and antonyms, so it becomes easier for you to interpret this information. You are not missing out on any information. Okay, then you have working memory and attention. So working memory and attention is very important if you ask me, because when you're reading these passages you have to concentrate and then interpret and then answer these. Okay, so don't try to move from one thought to another. Try to concentrate, only then it will be possible to clear these things. Okay, so the same content they have given it in a passage. So I'll just take up one passage, might be the second one is easier. Okay, I'll just go through this passage for your understanding, so it'll be easier for you to interpret. Like, India loses grain crops worth crores of rupees every year because of pests. In fact, the increased food production made possibly by modern technology and agriculture research would become more evident if farmer is able to effectively combat the various pests and insects that destroy the crop. While some of the crops are destroyed after harvesting, a large quantity of grains is destroyed in the field. True that Indian farmers today is better able to combat these destroyers of grains, for he made available to himself better storing facilities for the harvested crop and modern chemical aid like insecticides with which he may spray the growing crop in his field. But one has to remember that not all insects are harmful. The common earthworm, for instance, is a friend of a man. Is a friend of man because it works like a dustman by breaking up the dead leaves and wood from plants and mixes them with the soil, thus making the soil rich. Therefore, when a farmer sprays his fields with chemicals that kills insects, he destroys his friend with his enemies. Okay, so this is a small passage where they are talking about a farmer, they are talking about agriculture, they're talking about pest control. Okay, basically how pests are being damaged. One, how it is being damaged in field, how it is being damaged in storage. So for field damage, he's using chemicals, pesticides. In this chemical pesticides, he's not only killing the insects, he's also killing earthworm. The other thing is he's for after harvesting, he is using a storage facility in which he is trying to store all these harvested crops. Okay, so these are the information which is being provided in this particular passage. Okay, so based on this we are going to start with the answering. A large part of the increased food production is lost because of the lack of irrigation facility. They are not talking about irrigation facility in this particular paragraph. The inadequate rainfall in the country, he has not spoken about rainfall at all. The destruction caused by harmful insects, yes, that is one option that they have spoken of. Bad eating habits of people, no. Here, if you see about irrigation, he didn't speak. About inadequate rainfall, they didn't speak. Eating habits, they didn't speak. Here, they are speaking only about insects. Okay, destructions caused by insects. So it becomes easier for me to identify that particular option. Okay, then you have the next question. The function of insecticide is to protect the growing crop, to nourish the growing crop, to harvest the growing crop, to store the harvested crop. So for to nourish the growing crop, no, he's not using it, because for nourishment he is using other things. Here if you see, he's just speaking about the infections that is being caused to the plant, okay, by the insects. So for that he is just speaking about. Here he is not using the chemical for nourishment, harvesting or storage, because for storage he is going with storage facilities. Okay, so hence he is using this to protect the growing crop in the field. Okay, the insecticide is used in the fields for protecting the growing crop. Then you have, when the farmer sprays his field with chemicals that kills insects, he spoils his growing crop. No, he's protecting his growing crop. He kills good as well as bad insects. Yes, because his last sentence, if you see, they had given, he kills his friends along with his enemies. Okay, so that means with good, he is killing the bad things also. He fertilizes the soil. No, he's not fertilizing, because fertilizing will be done by earthworms, is what they have told. He decreases his food production. No, he is trying to increase his production by protecting the crop from insects. So this is the option which is suitable. Okay, then you have, the common earthworm is the greatest destroyer of crop. No, it reduces the grain to dust. No, it doesn't reduce grain to dust. It reduces leaves and wood into dust. Okay, breaks up the leaves on the crop. No, it breaks up the leaves on the ground. If you want, you can read it once again. It is given. It breaks up the leaves on the earth, okay, or on the soil, and makes the soil more rich. Yes, it makes the soil more rich by decomposing these components. Okay, so that will be my option for fourth one. Then after harvesting, what the farmer need is good supply of seeds. No. Ability to combat the weather. No. A safe place for storage. Yes, that's being spoken about in the passage. A lot of chemical fertilizers. No. Chemical fertilizers is required at the time of growing the crop, not after harvesting. Okay, so chemical fertilizers is required before, but here they are asking after harvesting what is required. After harvesting, he requires a good place to save that. Okay, so when you're trying to read a passage, kindly know you don't repeatedly read that passage. Once you read this particular passage, you are able to understand this. Okay, so this is what is more important in interpreting passages. So kindly go through a passage, read it comfortably. Don't be in a hurry. Okay, I have to finish it. I have to finish it. Initial days, you just started slow. So daily do one passage or whatever it is. I will just a minute. Just a second. Okay, let it open. So these are the things which will help you in identifying a passage. Don't go up in a hurry. Read peacefully. Understand the passage. Once you understand the passage, it will be easier for you to go ahead and do it in the do it as an interpretation. Okay, it will be easier. So these are with respect to passages in the textbook. You have, I think, 4 or 5 passages. That's all. You don't have much of the passages, but okay. Repeatedly don't ask me. This is the one website, okay, where you can go and do passage reading. Okay, passage reading, if you want to learn more, there are only 5 passages given here. You want to practice much more passages. How to do that? If you go to this particular website, okay, this is basically for IELTS or TOEFL or whatever exams they prepare. For that you have passage reading. Otherwise you can also go to Google, okay, and give it as a paragraph reading, okay, or logical paragraph reading or anything like that. It will pop up so many paragraphs. Kindly go read those passages, whichever website you're happy with. So kindly go read these passages. It'll be easier for you to understand. Fine. So we'll just go ahead. Okay, so don't repeatedly ask your questions. So it becomes, the chat box is becoming filled. Then you have para-jumbles, sentence corrections, sentence arrangements, and sentence completion. So with respect to this, okay, here, what is para-jumbles? So here in para-jumbles, what we are trying to do is, basically a paragraph will be given, but they won't give it in a direct way. Okay, the paragraph will, let's say a paragraph has 4 sentences, they have split the sentences into different components. Like if you see here, they'll give it as A, B, C, D. Okay, so this is not in the exact format, but you have to arrange it in an exact format so it becomes into a sensible passage or sensible paragraph. Okay, this is what is called as para-jumbles. So a paragraph will be jumbled and you have to identify which is the proper way in which it's going to be assembled. Here, understanding the topic of the paragraph is very, very important, like what they are talking, whether they are talking about technology, irrigation, agriculture, okay, whatever it is. First understand what they are talking about and understanding the information flow, how it is flowing, how did it start, how it is going to end. Okay, so that becomes relatively important. You have to interpret these two things, only then you can go understanding and interpreting a paragraph. Okay, we'll just do one just for your understanding so it becomes easier. People who start up their own business typically come from two extreme backgrounds. One is the business family background, and the other is a steady professional family background. Okay, typically, people from different backgrounds face different kinds of basic problems. These people from both the background find it very difficult to establish and manage an enterprise. Starting up and managing a small business is not a joke. So if you just go here, starting up is something like initiating. Okay, so initiating is something that they are talking about, and here they are talking about business. So business is not an easy thing. Running with people is not an easy thing. A business is started by two type of people: one who have a family background, or one who have a clear professional background. And then they are saying typical each people will have different type of problems once they enter into business. So I'm very clear that after the people from both the backgrounds find it very difficult. So after A, it has to be C. Why? Because here they are talking about two extreme backgrounds, and after that here they're saying that the people from both the backgrounds find it difficult. So these two are connecting statements. Okay, so it has to be A and C. And I already told you starting up is something which is going to initiate something. So that's why I'm going to go with D as my beginning sentence. And finally, if I go with B, B will say typically people from different background face different kinds of situations. So my arrangement will be D, A, C, B. Okay, it's DACB. Okay, so this is how I'm going to read, understand, interpret my passages, and based on that I will see how is it connecting. So here the simple connect here was he spoke about two extreme backgrounds, and here he is saying people from both the backgrounds. Okay, so this is my connecting statement, so it became easier for me to connect A and C. Okay, so the next connection what I got was starting up and managing business is not a joke. So this was my beginning statement, and then finally what we can conclude is typically people from different background face different situations, so it becomes easier for us to identify the passage combination here. It will be D, A, C, B. Okay, so this is how we are going to do para jumbles in the same website what I have given you there, that also provides you with para jumbles. Okay, you can try on that. I'll stop the class for here today. I'll just take up your questions. You can just give me questions for 1 or 2 minutes. I'll just take it up, then we will see. Okay, then we can close the class. Just a minute. Don't repeat the questions. Kindly post it and leave it. I will come back. So, ma'am, what are we gonna have instead of Viva this year? Kindly check with your chapter. There is another thing called as current affairs, presentation and communication skill. That is the concept that you're gonna have instead of Viva. Ma'am, what is the meaning of cohesion in comprehension? Cohesion is how we are trying to have the entire condensed meaning of a particular passage and how you are trying to cohere with that. Okay, you have to condense the passage as per your understanding. So we did something about agriculture, storage of crops. There, what they spoke about, what are the important things, what are the things that I have to remember. Might be you can scribble it down or you can practice it however you're comfortable. That is what is called as condensing the passage as per your information. Okay, then you have ma'am, what is going to be instead of viva voce? I have answered. How to identify the tone of a passage? Tone of the passage, once you start practicing, only then you will know whether he's talking positively or he's talking negatively. The passage what we did now, that is talking about positivity. Okay, in terms of storage and all these things, it's talking positively. Where if you see about this particular business thing, what they are saying, they are talking about difficulty. Okay, it's more like a critic. So those things you will understand only by learning. Ma'am, how to identify? Oh, yeah, that's done. Is CS a good career choice for girls? It depends on your own thought process. Instead of viva voce, yes, you will have the same thing I have answered. Ma'am, will the first sentence in para jumbling be shorter? No, it need not be short. Kindly don't go with that particular assumption. Might be your last sentence can also be short, but understand how the flow is there. Read each combination once or twice, and then you will understand. See, here if you see A and C was a clear combination. Okay, but here if you see A and C is one option, A and C is there in two options. Okay, so try both the options, see which is better one. Might be you can do, if you are finding it very difficult, no, one easy trick can be, once you know which is the exact combination, if you're confident with that combination, try with the two sentences what are the other combinations given. Okay, read out and see which makes better sense for you. That is reverse way of answering. You're going with the options and trying to interpret this. Okay, so when you're doing that, it'll be easier for you to answer this particular question. That is one small trick, but it won't work all the time. But if you're in very much confusion or something, you can try that. But kindly practice and have your own logic before you go and answer. Okay, don't go blindly with this. Then you have thank you, welcome, Nandini. Then you have ma'am, will the first sentence, yes. Passing marks, 40% in each subject wise, you have to get 40%. Overall, you should get 50%, only then it will be cleared. Okay, thank you. The class was helpful. Ma'am, do we have MCQ based questions on this subject? No, we don't have. We have not prepared. Whatever is there in the textbook, only that much is there. Apart from that, if you want, you have it in ICSI website. Kindly go and follow it there. Okay, what will come in presentation and communication skill? Kindly check with the chapter. There is a small class being taken on that. Like they'll give you what are the syllabus and all. It's a general topic. You can Google and study on basic topics. It's completely a general topic. Okay. Ma'am, what will come in communication? Okay. Can we use paper for solving questions in exam? No, I don't think they'll allow you to use papers there. But since it's your August attempt will be from your home, you can use a scribbling pad or something like that. Is a parajumble DBAC also correct? No, DBAC will not be correct because B says typically people from different background face different problems. But if you see in the options, that option is not there. Okay, and typically people from different background, to say different background, you don't have what are the backgrounds. So the background has to be explained first, only then you can go with the option. Okay, if they have given you DBAC as an option, kindly be clear, interpret it properly, and then you can go ahead. Okay, then you have what will be there in presentation. Thank you, welcome. Ma'am, how can we improve our reading skill? I've given you one website ID. Kindly go ahead, kindly follow and do 1 or 2 passages every day. It will help you. Paper easy. I read well, and if you are prepared, it will be easy. If you have not read well, it will be difficult. How many RC can we expect? RC is reading comprehension you're asking. Okay, might be 1 or 2. Okay. What position does a fresher see? God. Are these passages given in material enough? No, material is given only 5. If you want to practice more and learn more things beyond this, then you can follow that particular website, or you can go to Google and Google para reading or paragraph reading. It will provide you with questions. Don't repeat the same questions. People who are asking again, it will be tough for them. I've given the website address above. Kindly go ahead and check on that chat box. The same questions are asked. Anything new? How these exams are conducted? Kindly call up ICSI, check with them, and then we go ahead. Okay, fine. Sure. We'll just close the class now. Okay, I've taken 4-5 minutes extra. You can go ahead, and tomorrow we'll meet up for the next session. Thank you.